So if you're just joining us or you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. It'll give you updates on our reading guide whenever we post new videos. It really helps the channel a lot and gets our message out to more people. Appreciate it. Enjoy.
Judges chapter 7, verses 1 through 25. Then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, and all the people who were with him, rose up early and encamped beside the spring of Harod. Midian's camp was on the north side of them, by the hill of Moreh, in the valley. The Lord said to Gideon, "The people who are with you are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hand, lest Israel brag against me, saying, 'My own hand has saved me.' Now therefore proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, 'Whoever is fearful and trembling, let him return and depart from Mount Gilead.' So 22,000 of the people returned, and 10,000 remained. The Lord said to Gideon, 'There are still too many people. Bring them down to the water, and I will test them for you there. It shall be that those whom I tell you, this shall go with you, shall go with you. And whoever I tell you, this shall not go with you, shall not go.' So he brought down the people to the water. And the Lord said to Gideon, 'Everyone who laps of the water with his tongue, like a dog laps, you shall set him by himself. Likewise, everyone who bows down on his knees to drink.' The number of those who lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, was 300 men, but all the rest of the people bowed down on their knees to drink water. The Lord said to Gideon, 'I will save you by the 300 men who lapped, and deliver the Midianites into your hand. Let all the other people go, each to his own place.' So the people took food in their hand, and their shofars, and he sent all the rest of the men of Israel to their own tents, but retained the 300 men. The camp of Midian was beneath him in the valley. That same night the Lord said to him, 'Arise, go down into the camp, for I have delivered it into your hand. But if you are afraid to go down, go with Purah your servant down to the camp. You will hear what they say, and afterward your hands will be strengthened to go down into the camp.' Then he went down with Purah his servant to the outermost part of the armed men who were in the camp. The Midianites, the Amalekites, and all the children of the east lay along in the valley like locusts for multitude. Their camels were without number, as the sand which is on the seashore for multitude. When Gideon had come, behold, there was a man telling a dream to his fellow. He said, 'Behold, I dreamed a dream, and behold, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the camp of Midian, came to the tent, and struck it so that it fell, and turned it upside down so that the tent lay flat.' His fellow answered, 'This is nothing other than the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, a man of Israel. God has delivered Midian into his hand, with all the army.' When Gideon heard the telling of the dream and its interpretation, he worshipped. Then he returned into the camp of Israel and said, 'Arise, for the Lord has delivered the army of Midian into your hand.' He divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put into the hands of all of them shofars and empty pitchers, with torches within the pitchers. He said to them, 'Watch me and do likewise. Behold, when I come to the outermost part of the camp, it shall be that as I do, so you shall do. When I blow the shofar, I and all who are with me, then blow the shofars also on every side of all the camp, and shout, "For the Lord and for Gideon." So Gideon and the 100 men who were with him came to the outermost part of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch, when they had but newly set the watch. Then they blew the shofars and broke in pieces the pitchers that were in their hands. The 3 companies blew the shofars, broke the pitchers, and held the torches in their left hands, and the shofars in their right hands with which to blow. And they shouted, "The sword of the Lord and of Gideon." They each stood in his place around the camp, and all the army ran, and they shouted and put them to flight. They blew the 300 shofars, and the Lord set every man's sword against his fellow and against all the army. The army fled as far as Beth Shittah towards Zererah, as far as the border of Abel-Meholah by Tabbath. The men of Israel were gathered together out of Naphtali, out of Asher, and out of all Manasseh, and pursued Midian. Gideon sent messengers throughout all the hill country of Ephraim, saying, "Come down against Midian, and take the waters before them as far as Beth-barah, even the Jordan." So all the men of Ephraim were gathered together, and took the waters as far as Beth-barah, even the Jordan. They took the 2 princes of Midian, Oreb and Zeb. They killed Oreb at Oreb's rock, and Zeb they killed at Zeb's winepress as they pursued Midian. Then they brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon beyond the Jordan.
So now we get into the second part of Gideon's story, where he takes about 30,000 troops to go attack the Midianites. And the Midianites have been ransacking the countryside. Like, they have just been destroying villages, they've been killing people, they've been taking slaves, and there's about 130,000 of them. So while it's a sizable army, nowhere near as many as the Midianites have. But God's like, that's too many. If you take that many and you win, people will think that you did it by yourself and it wasn't me. So ask everybody if they're afraid, and if they're afraid, send them home. And so like 20,000 people raised their hand and went home. So now he's down to 10,000, which is like a third of what he started with, which is already a huge detriment. So in the military, if you're down to a third of your forces, you are what's called battle ineffective, meaning you need to cancel the mission and go home. But he keeps pursuing. And God's like, no, that's still too many. I think they could still think it was you. So stop at the stream, have everybody drink. Anybody that gets down and laps it up like a dog and doesn't maintain bearing, send them home. It leaves them with like 300 people to fight 130,000 people. It's bananas. And so they go through it anyway. And this is where it gets really cool, because Gideon kind of channels his inner John Wick in that, I'm killing everybody. Everybody's going down, no survivors. We're going to wipe them out. But he does it in a real Odysseus sort of way. He goes back and he says, all right, we're going to light all these torches. We're going to bring all these different horns, and we're really going to confuse the enemy. We're going to go in when they're asleep. We're going to get them all riled up. We're going to start killing people. We're going to hit people. And then we're going to bounce and let them defeat themselves. And he does this to perfect effect. I mean, the Midianites are so confused that they just end up wiping out themselves before they know what's going on. And this is a real thing. This really happens in combat. You have what's called the fog of war, where you don't know what's happening. You'll see it in the UFC sometimes too, when a guy gets knocked out or he gets knocked silly and he starts like fighting the ref, or he starts fighting his own corner. That's because you're so confused, you don't know what's going on. That's a real thing. And it's weird that the Bible depicts it so perfectly, and Gideon takes complete advantage of it. So we see tactical brilliance, we see violence of action, and we see full commitment to the cause. And that is a tough man to beat. So question 1 in the commentary focus is, why did God actively reduce the size of Gideon's forces? Well, we kind of hinted on that before. It's so that he would be glorified and not Gideon or not the troops. It was to remove the possibility that people would misconstrue this as anything other than a miracle from God. God wanted to be very clear. And it's hard to argue with 300 people taking out 130,000 and not say, yep, that was a miracle. The next question is, what numbers are you trusting more than God? I know I do this all the time. I'm an engineer, so my life is numbers. I base everything on calculation. And so I look at my bank account and I'm like, do I have enough to make it to the end of the month? Oh, what's going on here? What's happening there? And I'm basing it on these numbers that I perceive as being very valuable, very important. And God is sitting up there probably laughing at me going, dude, I'm in control. So it doesn't matter what's in your bank account. It doesn't matter how many jobs you line up. It doesn't matter, what you think you have available or what you don't think you have available. I do miracles. I can make anything work. If it's in my plan for you to win the lotto, you win the lotto. And if it's in my plan for you to be broke as a joke for a time, that's what I'm going to do. But know that I'm in control. And that's a really hard thing for me to accept, because I am a very autonomous person and I am quite vain and think that I know best. So it's a real struggle for me. But where are you experiencing that? Is it the same way or is it slightly different? Think about it. And the last thing to focus on from this reading is we see victory comes through obedience, not through firepower or ammunition or numbers. You know, if you would have told Gideon when he started out, hey, look, here's what's going to happen. You're going to get 300 people, and then you're going to go defeat 130,000. Nobody in their right mind would have been like, yep, sign me up. Let's go. Let's make that happen. But that's what happened, right? And so when we see that, when we think about it, if you were put in that same position, would you agree? Or would you be one of the first 20,000 people that raised their hands? It's like no one knows until you're put in that situation. But really what the story is articulating is that through obedience, we gain so much more than we lose when we try to control everything. So when we're controlling everything, we're basing everything on our understanding and not leaning on God's judgment. So I know it's struggle, I know it's hard, and I know it's very scary, but we need to be obedient to God and let him handle all the details. Thanks for joining again for day 3, only 27 more to go. If you're watching this on short form, you can watch the full video over on my YouTube channel. I would love for you to comment, share a story, talk to me about it, and I'll see you tomorrow.